Coach Allen talked about how they kind of use the scrimmages in a little bit more of an unscripted way for you in particular, that normally there would be a lot more sort of scenario work and scheduling things out, but that they wanted it to, I guess, have some of the spontaneity, simulate some of the spontaneity of game weeks, just for you to kind of get a good rhythm of play calling with the non-conference this year. I guess just, what's the comfort level you feel you built, and maybe it's maybe a little bit of an unorthodox way to use those scrimmage situations, but to be able to treat it more like a true and honest game, I guess.
Yeah, I feel very comfortable, primarily because of our players and our staff. But I think we've done a nice job because it has been, an unusual year. We've had a lot of unscripted periods where both Kane and I have had to call it. And I think that's been very beneficial. Makes you think on your feet, makes you problem solve, which obviously is game-like. So I feel very comfortable, excited for the opportunity. And like I said, the primary reason why I feel so comfortable is because of our staff and our players. So I think we've done a nice job of putting both the players and the coaches as best we can under the circumstances in as many game-like situations as possible.
All right, John, then Matt.
Coach Allen was talking about Michael just in terms of his natural poise. He's just very confident in him going into big games like this, Penn State. I actually talked to one of Michael's coaches, and he said he's the calmest quarterback he's ever coached by far. How much have you seen that just, from the ACL, the injuries he dealt with last year, to coming back and through camp, just that natural level of calm, just kind of stay where it's at?
Yeah, I definitely think that's one of Mike's strengths. The moment's not too big for Mike. He's played high level and competitive football for a long time, and so coming back from when he was in high school and even before that, just the level of competition relative to when, how old he was, it was always a high level of competition, playing against good players in big games. And so, from the time he's been here, I don't think the moment's ever been too big for Mike. Obviously, that's a great quality to have in your quarterback. I think he's excited, and I'll let him speak, for himself. But I definitely think that's a great quality to have in your quarterback. He's, like I said, the moment's not too big, and he's able to execute under pressure. He's able to operate at the level that we all would want him to, regardless of, who the opponent is, what's the situation. He's good in that regard, without a doubt. So that's definitely a strength, and I would echo exactly what Coach Allen said.
Matt, then Paul.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm okay. I was going to ask you about the run game. I know it's been a focus. Coach Allen has talked about it. You've talked about it. All the coaches on the offensive side. I guess your thoughts on the progress you guys have made, and kind of a two-part. Not without giving out too much away, but using the quarterback in the run game has been part of your guys' offense the last couple of years. Are you guys comfortable with Michael doing that just because of, the injury issues and him getting hit? I know you can't control things that happen during the flow of a game, but, do you see him running the ball some over the course of the season?
Well, I think just naturally, if you play quarterback, you're going to be asked to, at different times, whether it's designed runs or just, loose plays, you're going to be asked to tuck the ball down and run. So, there's no way for us to prevent that. Obviously, you can limit some of the quarterback runs. You have control over that. I think all offenses across the country have that in their offense, and they utilize it when they see fit. We recruit tailbacks to run the ball. We recruit wide receivers to catch it. We recruit quarterbacks to throw it, and so I think if a strength of one of our quarterbacks is to run it at times, I think you utilize that. But ultimately, I think it's difficult. If you're a quarterback and you run between the tackles and you get tackled by a 240-pound middle linebacker, and then you expect him to get up and go rip a dig route, I don't think that's the easiest thing to do. So I think you have to be smart. I think the protection of the quarterback is always important, regardless of your style of play. You're trying to protect the quarterback, whether it be in passing or in running the ball. So we think Michael's athletic. We think it's going to happen naturally where he's going to be, whether the coverage dictated it or whatever it may be, he might have to tuck the ball down and run. But certainly we're looking to hand the ball off to our tailbacks, who we have a lot of confidence in, let our line block. And if the quarterback's involved in the run game, sometimes that's dictated by situation or opponent. And I think that would be the same for everybody in our league, is that there are times where the quarterback's going to be asked to be involved in the run game. But I think across our league, for the most part, people, they want the running backs carrying the majority of the carries. So we'd be in the same boat as that.
Paul, then Dylan.
Penn State's defense is one that was next to last in the Big Ten last year in passing yards, yet they've averaged 45 sacks the last 3 seasons. What about them concerns you, especially with Parsons being out for them this season?
Well, year in and year out, they're one of the top defenses in our conference, which if you're one of the top defenses in the Big Ten, that makes you one of the top defenses in the country. I think Coach Pry and his entire defensive staff, they recruit at an extremely high level. And then on top of that, they allow their players to play aggressive and play fast. And so we have a tremendous amount of respect for not just the coaching staff, but also the players and the entire program that Coach Franklin is running. It's a tremendous challenge. It's a tremendous opportunity. We're looking forward to the competition. I'm excited for everybody in our conference to get an opportunity to play. Certainly excited for our players and our staff, but I'm excited for everybody. I think it's exciting. It's everybody in our league is going to get an opportunity to compete and play and coach, and so it's something to be excited about and look forward to. But without a doubt, we have a tall task ahead of us. They're a tremendous defense. I know a lot has been made about their linebacker that opted out and those things, but they're not lacking for ability. They're not lacking for talent, and they're extremely well coached and aggressive. And so, we look for the guys that are filling in those shoes to be productive and outstanding players and super well coached. So we know that, and we know we have a lot of work to do this week to get prepared for that.
Dylan, then Kevin.
Hey, Coach. Similar to what John asked about Michael, but about Ty Freifogel, we talked to Coach Hurd last week and said he is very kind of steady and calm in practice. I mean, what have you seen from him, just the way he carries himself, as well as how much he's improved over the offseason?
Yeah, just that. I would echo what Coach Hurd said. He's just a guy that's very dependable. I think he has very good ability, and there's no doubt he has shown that, the ability to create plays and make plays for us. And he's just continued to get better. I think he loves football. He enjoys being coached. I think Coach Hurd has done a fantastic job with him. He's definitely, since the day he got here to where he is now, has made tremendous strides, and that's a credit to him, but also our program and specifically his position coach. I think he's been developed. Not to say that he didn't have ability when he got here, but there's no question that he's been coached and has improved. And I credit, primarily him and Coach Hurd for that development. And so we're excited about him and thankful that he's on our team.
Kevin and DJ.
Yeah, Coach, kind of a two-part question. Kind of the anticipation, anxiety, nerves of calling plays for on Saturday, and then also how collaborative are you with your position coaches in the process when it comes to game planning?
Yeah, I don't have anxiety or nerves sitting here right now. I think everybody to some degree, when you get close to kickoff, there's a level of whatever you want to call it, because you care, you enjoy the competition, you want to do well. But I think the preparation as a staff is 100% collaborative. Ultimately there has to be a decision maker to kind of put the final touches and, make a decision on any differences of opinion. But I lean heavily on our staff, and that's what gives me confidence. And so in the game planning process, it's very collaborative, and even throughout the game, it's collaborative. Obviously not down in and down out. There's not enough time to take suggestions, but between series, between quarters, between and halftime, it's super collaborative, and everyone has a different vantage point. Everybody sees the game from their lens, and that information is valued and appreciated and wanted. And so, the game planning process is very collaborative, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to our players getting a chance to play. I know they're looking forward to that. But we're really focused on today. We have a lot of work to do today. We have a lot of work to do in this upcoming week. We're trying to focus on the now, being 1-0, and really focusing on the process. And game time will be here. Seems weird to say that. I don't. Seems like a long time since we played a game, and so I think everybody's excited, and I'm sure all the coaches and players across our league feel the same way.
DJ, then Matt.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, Michael Penix missed a majority of the team's bigger games last season. But for this season, how has his presence in the locker room, his evolving leadership, kind of helped the offense, especially for this first week of game prep?
Well, I think Michael's confidence in himself allows the players around him to have confidence. I think that would probably be the biggest thing, is that he is a confident player, and I think that breathes confidence into the guys around him because they know their quarterback thinks that he's able to compete and execute at a high level. So that's probably, from a presence standpoint, I felt Peyton Ramsey had similar confidence. Peyton was a very confident player as well. And so anytime your quarterback believes in himself, first and foremost, I think it gives the rest of the guys the belief that they can go out and do their job, And so you earn that, through time, through trust, through work ethic, through practice, through different experiences. I think that's what gives players confidence in their quarterback, but certainly it starts with them believing in themselves, and certainly Michael feels that way.
All right, Matt, and then we'll wrap up with Tom.
Hey, Coach, I was going to ask you, obviously, since you've been here, you've been down the sidelines during games. I know Coach Womack coordinates the defense from the sidelines. Is that your plan this year, or do you plan on being in the press box as the play caller?
Yeah, Coach Womack actually in scrimmages calls it from the numbers usually, but he's in the room here, so I'm just I plan on being in the box. I have done both. I think the vantage point's a little bit cleaner up there, and there's pros and cons to both. I know, Kane could tell you the same, so I have confidence in the staff to manage the emotions of the game on the sideline and to be able to help our players. But I think, for me and for this team and this year initially for sure, I'll be up in the box and I can see a little bit better. And it's nothing new. Everybody that's been up or down could tell you the pros and cons to both. That's how we're going to do it. So I'll be up in the box.
Tom, and then Zach.
Nick, as part of the growth process of this program, the only thing that's really lacking so far on the resume the last few years are those sort of signature wins against top highly ranked teams. You guys obviously have an opportunity here in week one and another one a few weeks later. How important is that conversation been with your players in regards to having this opportunity present itself and actually finishing it off and doing something about it this year?
Truthfully, Tom, we don't talk about that too much. I understand the question and I understand the narrative as far as that goes. But, our guys have confidence in themselves. They believe that we have a good team and that we can compete against anybody in our league. And now, anytime you're going to play the level of competition that we are, game in and game out, every week is a big game. Every week's important. We certainly don't look at our schedule and just, tick off the wins. Every week is going to be a battle. We have to prepare well. We have to play well. We have to coach well. And that's the challenge of our conference. And that's why you come to Indiana. That's why you come to play in the Big Ten, for those opportunities. So we don't spend a whole bunch of time talking to the players about what has or has not happened in the past. We really try to have a great Monday and have, this morning we had meetings and lift and walk through and those types. We try to have the very best Monday we could possibly have with the players. And our charge to our guys was have the best Monday afternoon you could possibly have in your preparation and you're taking care of your body and all the things that are going to help you on Saturday. So that's really where we spend our time. We try to apply pressure to things that we have control over, Tom. And that's really where we spend our effort and our energy on those types of things.
Last one for Zach.
Sorry, I don't think anybody's asked. I think we've asked about Javon Swinton before. Also, another guy that's come up a couple times, and Coach Allen mentioned them both this morning, was A.J. Barner, obviously at the position that kind of you came to OC from. I guess we've seen a little bit more of Swinton just kind of in practice clips and things, but in terms of freshmen that maybe are kind of popping off the page a little bit more, what is it about those two guys at their respective positions that's really maybe getting them, just getting them a little more notice, I suppose, at this point?
Well, I think their maturity, I think their comfortability, their competitive spirit. I don't think that they're overwhelmed at this level. And each freshman, takes a different process and a different path to get to the point where they can compete and let their abilities be maximized. I just think for those two kids, for young players, that they're very good competitors. They're very mature. They understand football. They have poise for young players. And so we're excited about them. I'm sure there will be some nerves or anxiousness for them, the first couple snaps they get out there. But I think they probably felt the way for their first practice here, and before you know it, they realize it's still 11 on 11. It's still football, things that they've been doing for a long time and been doing very well. So for both those kids, I think they're competitive. I think they love football. They understand football, and they embrace the competition, which it'll be even cranked up even more. There's nothing – we try to simulate games in practice as best we can, and we try to make, good players go against good players. But certainly when you get, in games, it's a little bit different. And so I think they're looking forward to that, and I'm excited for them.